Hi, boys and girls. Hope you had a wonderful winter break. Welcome back to school. Hope you had a wonderful new year. Um, let's go 2021. Yahoo! With the new year comes the new topic in reading. And reading, we're going to start off January talking about nonfiction. And just to review with you, nonfiction is the topic is real. You're reading about something real. It includes real facts. A lot of times, authors include photographs that they have taken with their camera. And nonfiction contains all kinds of different text features, and we're going to look at some of those text features today. And you should learn something when you read nonfiction. And nonfiction also comes at all levels. And at the bottom here of my chart, it says that nonfiction can be about people, animals, history, plants, science, sports, hobbies. There's nonfiction written for all kinds of different topics. The first thing I wanted to point out to you is that there are many different types of nonfiction text. Nonfiction can be in the form of a book. Here on your screen, I have a book called I Am Abe Lincoln. It can also be in the form of a newspaper. You can see here the Rutledge Herald has an article on the front cover talking about COVID-19. So that is a type of nonfiction. Your textbooks are nonfiction. I put a picture here of our math textbook. That is nonfiction. The internet is nonfiction, believe it or not. I put here a picture of a computer. When you go onto the internet and you search for information about maybe your family's getting a new car and you want to look up the best new car for families to get. You're on the internet, you're looking up informational text about those cars. Encyclopedias, we don't actually use the encyclopedia books too much anymore, but sometimes you use encyclopedias online. Those are nonfiction. Biographies are nonfiction. So I Am Abe Lincoln is also a type of biography, and it is a type of book. Dictionaries are nonfiction. We have dictionaries in our classroom. You might have dictionaries in your house, but you also can use an online dictionary. And magazines are nonfiction. I have up here a Shark magazine or National Geographic magazine about sharks, and then a Time for Kids magazine. Those are definitely nonfiction text. So there's a lot of different types of nonfiction. There are also different text features that you only find in nonfiction. So I'm just going to briefly read to you the different types of text features, and then we're going to look at text features in a textbook and in a magazine article. So nonfiction always has a title. It usually has, if it's a book, it usually has a title page. A lot of times, if it's a book, it comes with a table of contents. You know, the table of contents tells you what chapter, what page number you can find the information on. In the back of the books, a lot of times there's an index, and the index usually tells you what page you can find your topic on. For example, if you're looking up Abe Lincoln in a history book, you could look up Lincoln and it'll tell you what page where you would find specific information about Abe Lincoln. You also have a glossary in the back of most nonfiction books. Glossaries define words for you or give you definitions. A lot of articles and even some books have headings that tell you, the different sections of text and what that section is going to be about. I mentioned a few minutes ago that a lot of times authors of nonfiction include photographs. So they actually take a picture or a photo of something, and it's a real picture or photo. Sometimes they have illustrations that they draw. And a lot of times when an artist draws an illustration, they will label it to help you understand a concept better. A lot of times your photographs or your illustrations have captions to explain what they are about. And sometimes photographs or illustrations have labels in nonfiction. Some authors of nonfiction will include graphs depending on what the topic is about. Some will include tables, again, depending on what the topic is about. Other features of nonfiction is the map. A lot of authors will put maps in there so that you understand where the event that you're reading about is taking place. A lot of nonfiction contains diagrams, which will explain the information that you're reading or how something works using a diagram to make it clearer for you. Authors of nonfiction will they'll bold print certain words to let you know that those words are important and that you can find those words in the glossary if you need to find out what the word means. A lot of authors of nonfiction will italicize the word to let you know that that is an important word. Sometimes you see bullet points in nonfiction. It just basically makes a list easier to read. And lastly, sometimes you will have a fact box or a sidebar in nonfiction, which will give you interesting facts or extra information about a topic. Now, please understand that in order to be considered nonfiction, you don't have to have all of these. There's very rarely are you going to find a piece of nonfiction with every single one of these text features that I just mentioned to you. But be aware that these are all different text features, and you will see them in certain pieces of nonfiction, and then some pieces of nonfiction you won't see all of them. So what I've done here is I took a couple of screenshots of our Envision math book because that is a type of nonfiction, and I wanted to point out to you some of the text features that I found in our math book. And of course, you have the math book at home. If you want to open it up and follow along, you certainly can. The first thing that I found in the Envision math book is the title page. It tells you who the authors are, tells you when the math book was made in 2016, tells you who the publisher is, it's Pearson, and then it tells you all the different towns that Pearson's located for publishing purposes. I also found on page F5 of our Envision math book a table of contents. So it tells you what the 16 different topics are in 4th grade. And it also tells you whether they are a major cluster or a supporting cluster or an additional cluster. But here's all of our topics if you've ever been wondering what you're going to study all year long. Now, a minute ago, I mentioned to you that sometimes nonfiction has bold print or italicized words. Envision Math did it a little bit differently, and they highlighted the words. So for example, place value is highlighted on this page. Millions, period, expanded form. So all of those terms can be found in the glossary of your math book if you turn to the back of the book, and they will define those words for you in case you're getting confused as you are working. I also see on this page, I see a picture or a diagram. The question here is about the attendance at a ballpark, so the author included a little picture here to kind of make it more interesting to the reader and to kind of break down the different numbers for us. I also see a place value chart. So a place value chart is a type of diagram to help you understand place value a little bit better. On this page, again, I see the place value chart, and then the author also kind of wrote a description next to it to help you understand how the place value chart works and what it is that you are looking at. Here is the glossary that I found in the back of the book, and it gives you the vocabulary word, and then it gives you a definition. Please notice also in the glossary, sometimes there are diagrams included or examples included to try to help you to understand the word a little bit better. Now, the next thing that I did is I went into a magazine called Storyworks, and you may be familiar with this from 3rd grade, from this year, depending if your teacher has used any Storyworks yet. But this is an informational article on grizzly bears. And right away when I looked at this page, I saw the title of the article, Night of the Grizzlies, and I also saw a diagram or a illustration. Okay, it looks like to me that somebody drew this picture of this grizzly bear. It also tells us here on the title page who the author is. The author is the author of the I Survived books, if you've ever read any of those I Survived books. On our next page here, I see headings. There's a section about powerful and sacred. So I'm going to read here about, if I would actually read this, I would be learning about how the grizzly bears are powerful and why they're considered sacred. I also see another heading called highly intelligent. So I would expect in that section to find out what makes these grizzlies intelligent. I also see some boldface print words. I see the word sacred and the word fearsome are in bold print, which tells you that these are important words for you to understand, and the author has defined these words for you at the end of the article if you have to look it up. Here in this grizzly bear article, I found a map. So this map helps you to understand where Glacier National Park is about, because if you were to read this article, it's mentioning all the grizzly bears that live in Glacier National Park. So it shows you that it's in Montana, gives you the capital of Montana, and then it gives you some landmarks that you would find in Glacier National Park. Or, well, actually, it shows you that Glacier National Park is in the northern part of Montana, and that we have Yellowstone National Park down southern Montana. It also shows you here a map of the United States in case you don't know where Montana is. It is, you know, kind of on our western coast almost. So that kind of clears up location for you. Shows you Idaho's right there where Mr. DeHaas lives. So Glacier National Park is very close to Mr. DeHaas's hometown or home state. I also see here Grizzly Show, another heading. So if I was to read here, it would explain to you what's happening to these grizzlies. Here I found in the article kind of like a fact bar. This is giving us some all about grizzly information. Maybe you don't know what kind of food they eat. Maybe you don't know about their hibernation. Maybe you don't know how tall they get or how much they weigh or what their average lifespan is. So this gives you more information about grizzly bears, just to kind of inform you and to, you know, give you information about a topic. Again, on this page, I see heading, a transformation, and I see boldface words like lurking and remote. And here I saw two photographs. The author took a photograph of back then in the 1990s through the 1940s, how the bears were eating the garbage in the park. And then it shows us today, now, how the grizzly bears, how they're like protecting the grizzly bears from trash, so they can't get into the trash cans now because it's not good for them to eat the trash. These two pictures also have a caption. It tells you exactly here what you're seeing on the left and exactly here what you're seeing on the right. So a lot of times authors don't just put a picture or a photograph into a piece of nonfiction without explaining it to you, obviously. So hopefully, boys and girls, today you got an overview of nonfiction. You learned what type of nonfiction is out there and is available. And hopefully you understand that nonfiction is real text, real information. It's about real topics. And then we went over some of the text features of nonfiction. So when you are in small group today and looking at nonfiction with your teacher, and when you're reading independently, be looking at what type of nonfiction it is, and then be looking for some of the text features that you see.